Good morning, good morning, good morning. You know how it is, man. I just call this the best day of the week. I'm always excited to be able to, first of all, get to Wednesday and be able to spend part of Wednesday with you. The best time of the week. Let me say hello to my friend over here, Sophia. Let's see how good I am at this uh, tech thingy. I'm trying to bring you in, girl. I don't think it's working. Or is it working? Oh, it is working. Can you see me? Can you hear me? I guess she's still coming in. But so while we do that, again, always great to be able to hang out with you. Thank you always for joining me on this, the best day of the week. I call it, right? Wednesday, hump day. You make it to the middle of the week. Doesn't matter how you do it, man. But the week isn't over, right? It's not finished. The job isn't done. So you have to find a way to get to the end. And the best way is to um, is to get there accomplishing your goals, which means you kind of have to push over the hump. Like that's a case in our lives all the time. And so that kind of brings me to what I want to share some thoughts with you on this week, this business of resilience, right? What I know is that if you want to be happy, if you want to be successful and contented and so on and so forth, you need this thing called resilience. And so I'm trying to bring my friend Sophia in. I don't think it's working. So I'm not sure how you stop that. I'll give it a few more minutes, give it a minute or two. Right. So, yeah, if you want those things, you need resilience. There's nothing in life that is worth having that um, can happen without you facing some resistance, dealing with some hardships and some setbacks. And that means that you have to be resilient, right? If you want to learn a new skill or upgrade an existing skill, build a successful career, we talk about keep on pushing. And part of that is learning and growing and developing new skills. You can't do that and you can't pursue any worthy endeavor without having to deal with the challenges, and which means that you have to be resilient. Now, when people hear the term resilience, yes, I'm going to stop this because I don't think it's 1 second, guys. Yes, still learning how to work this thingy here. Um, hmm. All right. Damn. Come on, man. Do it. It's not doing it. Um, Am I frozen? No, I'm not frozen. All right. So people who was trying to bring in a couple of people on the broadcast, they are frozen. So again, resilience. When people hear the term resilience, right, they tend to think in terms of bounce back, right? How many times have you heard the term bounce back from a setback? Um, I've heard it. I've used it in the past, but here's my take on resilience now. I think that when we limit our understanding of resilience to this idea of bouncing back, of getting back to where we once were, I think we'll miss out. We'll miss out on the lessons that the hardships and the pain and the suffering have to offer us. Because I think the reality in life is that you can't truly bounce back because you can never truly get back to where you were before. Of course, if you're thinking about, let's say, a business, sales, a salesperson, for example, and in 2020, 2021, let's say, or 2020, their business was in the doldrums. But then they were able to bring their numbers back in 2021 to what it was, let's say, in 2019. Yes, in that way, but I don't think you can mentally and emotionally, we can never get back to where we were before, because I think every single thing that happens to us becomes a part of us, the good, the bad, and the indifferent, right? So are you going to learn and grow from it, or is it going to like beat you down? whatever it is that you allow, we're going to talk about that in a little bit more detail in a second, but whatever it is that you allow those circumstances to do to you becomes a part of you mentally, emotionally, right? And so when you rise above it, yeah, you may feel whole again, but I don't think you get back to where you were. You've moved on. And so this morning I want to share three quick ideas on how I think you can develop this resilient mindset. And again, for my friends over here on Instagram, this thing is just not working. How do I get rid of it? How do I do that? Welcome to live TV. Yeah, 9. Ooh, what's going on here? I'm messing up everything now, it seems. Turn this around. All right. Yeah, so I'm going to forget about this and keep on pushing, as I tell people. I'm seeing my friend, but I'm not hearing her. So my friends over here on Instagram, you won't see the charts, but we're sharing them, and you'll get the audio version of it, right? So three quick things on how you can develop this resilient mindset. The first thing is that you have to take personal responsibility, right? Some people call it individual responsibility. Whatever it is, it's a belief that each of us have the ability to choose and control our own actions, right? Regardless of what it is that we are dealing with. And because you can choose and control your own actions, it means, therefore, that you are, in essence, choosing and controlling your own destiny. You see how that works? You control your own actions because you have the ability to do that. And in the end, regardless of what it is that's happening in your life, you're choosing your own destiny, right? The challenge is that when people hear the term responsibility or personal responsibility, they hear it through the prism of blame, right? They're like, who's responsible for this, right? Why am I responsible? Oh, I didn't do anything. It's almost like a 7-year-old, right? But responsibility, the essence of responsibility is a recognition that you have to accept the consequences of your action. Like every action, everything that you do, every thought that you produce and think and kind of simmer on creates action, which then have consequences, the good and the bad, right? I get it. You're not responsible for every single thing that happens to you, right? You're not responsible for the fact that we're dealing with this pandemic, right? You didn't create the virus, but you're responsible for how you respond to the virus, right? Are you wearing a mask? Are you vaccinated, etc., etc.? Right? We're not getting into the politics and the right that you have to put whatever in your body, etc., etc. I'm just saying that whatever decision you made in response to this virus, that you chose that, you are responsible for that, and then you um, have to deal with the consequences of those actions, right? And that is true for everything else, right? So in our personal lives, um, professional lives, all of us were impacted, yes, by these uncontrollable events, and in the end, how we deal with it is our responsibility. Now, surely, and even what I just said, it's there's an implication that there's a limit to how much we can shape the world around us, right? So even if you did everything that the authorities said you should do in responding to this COVID-19, this coronavirus, you're still limited in um, how it impacts the community on a whole, because unless everybody is doing the same thing that you're doing, you know, um, you're not going to have that massive result, right? So we recognize that, but it still doesn't strip you of the responsibility um, or of the power to, or absolve you, should I say, of the responsibility to take charge of your own life, right? So we recognize that we are limited, but we also can still strive to master ourselves. We can still keep pushing ourselves to become the best versions of ourselves, right? That is, my friend, kind of a lifetime endeavor, as it were, right? Ooh, I just removed it. So recognize then, I'm trying to do this thing here. Sophia, how are you? Right. So we accept the consequences of our actions, and then, right, we have to develop that desire to create the life that we want. That's just, we have the ability to choose, but I think that's only half of the equation, right? Because every single one of us have the ability to choose. The question is, how many of us are truly willing to create that desire to develop and to create that life, that develop the desire to create the life we want, right? And oftentimes the reason why we're not there is because, you know what, we've become complacent. We are happy with mediocre. That's still your choice. But if you are embracing this keep on pushing philosophy that, man, and I can always take my game to the next level, then that requires that desire to want to push yourself to the next level. All right. So we deal with these, again, uncontrollable events in our lives, whatever it is, and some of us end up blaming and complaining, right? It's my mother, it's my father, it's the government, it's my neighbor, whoever it is, right? We want to blame. Hey, you need to stop, man. Seriously, you need to stop blaming and complaining, because it is such a disempowering position from which to operate. If you're blaming and if you're complaining and blaming other people, it means that it's not your fault. And so therefore you're absolving yourself and robbing yourself of the power, not the ability, the power to change. Because why would you change if it's not your fault? Why would you do something about it, right? So if you're going to take responsibility and develop this resilient mindset, you can't be blaming and complaining because it doesn't work. And then number two is that you should reframe your experiences. The prism through which you see the experiences that you're going through, right, is going to determine whether or not you increase the level of stress or you minimize the level of stress. The way you see the things that you're experiencing changes the way you experience it. And so, like, going through this COVID-19 pandemic, again, you know, I think about this all the time, because as a motivational speaker, and I remember being on stage in San Diego in March 2020, saying to a group of meeting planners, hey, let's keep living our lives, man. This is, you know, a little virus. Well, you know, was thinking about it in terms of, you know, how we think about a terrorist attack. And like the week after that, the world shut down and speaking stages closed as well. So I'm sitting at home twiddling my thumbs, right? And I could sit there and blame everybody. And I thought about, wow, those people who went through, let's say, the Great Depression, which, you know, in my mind had to be way worse than this. They survived, right? They found a way to work through it. And so if they did, then I could find a way to work through this challenge as well. And I think in just shifting my mind and start thinking about the fact that other people had gone through worse, and if they have done it, I could do it. It helped me to start figuring out what can I do to help myself, right? I think I shared this little formula with you guys a couple of weeks ago. Circumstances plus perception equals outcome. And as I said before, we have these uncontrollable events in our lives, these circumstances that you have absolutely no power over. But you can reframe it. You can choose how you respond to it, which is one of the things I've been saying. And that creates your outcome. Choose your perception. You can't change the circumstances. Decide on how you're going to deal with it. Decide on how you're going to look at your situation. And it's going to create an outcome that you would want, I believe, right? And so what you do is that you focus on the things you can control. I can't control the fact that the virus is here, but I can wear a mask. I can control the fact that the virus has closed speaking stages, but I can do I can start a podcast, which I did, right? I can write some new material, which I did, right? Or I can create a new program, which I did. Those are the things I can control. So you have to figure out in your particular situation, whatever that is, what can you control? What you can control is what you can control. And then finally, my friends, in going through challenging times and in order to develop this resilient mindset, you have to relaunch, right? So I've been using this analogy over the last couple of weeks. So imagine that you drive home from work every single day, and then you have to go back to work the next morning. What do? Every morning you have to get up and you have to restart the engine of your car. You need to restart your personal engine, right? Every single day as you're going through these challenges, you have to relaunch. Because we started this conversation saying nothing that is worth having in life, nothing worthwhile, is going to come your way without dealing with some hardship, right? Life is going to test you, man. Life is going to, without apology, challenge you, test your desire, test your commitment to living the dream that you want, right? Achieving the things, becoming the person you want to become. Your ability to withstand those buffers, those winds that life blow at you. That's your answer. That's you saying to life, hey, I'm here to stay. I'm here to achieve this thing. And I'm not going anywhere. Right? That requires you to be able to just to kind of hang in there, right? As I have here, it requires you to endure, develop the ability to endure no matter how difficult it gets. That's you building them resilient muscles. Because you may not be as resilient as you need to be initially, but every time you go through a hardship and you withstand that, you get stronger and you become more confident, right? You look at your situations and you go, hey, how can I achieve this? As opposed to why can't I achieve this, right? That's an attitude. That's an attitude that I kind of noticed in Olympic athletes, right? We go through these tremendously hard times and you could go, wow, you could decide that you could spend all your time thinking about why it can't be done. And my challenge to you is to develop the attitude of how I can, right? How I can instead of why I can't. Again, focus on the things you can control. Think about the things that you want, right? That's the thing that's going to keep building that resilient mindset, baby. If you sit there in your troubles thinking about all the reasons why you can't do this or do that or achieve this or achieve that, all that is going to come to you are quote unquote facts to support their way of thinking. If you spend your time thinking about all the ways you could possibly get it done, that's what's going to come to you. So let's develop that attitude of how I can instead of why I can't. All right. So I wanted to share those ideas with you. You have to take responsibility, because if it's to be, it's up to me, right? You have to take responsibility for that. It's up to you. You have to reframe your experiences. Start seeing those experiences in a different light, because then that frames the kinds of actions that you're going to take, and hence create the kinds of outcomes that you would like. And then you have to relaunch. You have to restart that engine every single day, every single hour sometimes, right? Depending on what the challenge is. You have to keep priming that pump and restarting that engine, baby. All right. So yeah, wanted to share those thoughts, those ideas with you. As always, thank you so much for chiming in. Daniel, it was great to have you. And so remember as well to jump over to my website, man, devonharris.com. See how easy I made it? devonharris.com. I have a ebook. I actually have a free e-course on goal setting, so feel free to take advantage of that. And I have an ebook on goal setting as well, chock full of some good ideas and strategies on how you can set and, most importantly, achieve your goals. It's only $2.99, man. Grab a copy. It's a nice, easy read, but I think it's going to have a positive impact on your life. All right. So thank you for joining. I'm looking forward to hanging out with you again. Until we do, you know what you're supposed to be doing, right? Keep on pushing.